I think you're overworking again, I said, leaning on the kitchen counter while Aiden typed away on his laptop. The glow from the screen painted his face pale blue. You promised no work during dinner. He didn't look up. It's just one email, Lena. Investors don't wait. You said that yesterday, I murmured. My tone was soft, not accusing. I didn't want to fight. You haven't looked at me all evening. He sighed, fingers still moving. You're making it sound like I'm ignoring you on purpose. Are you? I asked before I could stop myself. Aiden finally lifted his head, eyes tired but sharp. You know how hard I'm working to make this company happen. Everything I'm doing is for us. For us? I repeated, forcing a smile. Right. He closed the laptop, rubbed his temples. Don't start, Elena. I'm exhausted. I wasn't starting anything, I said quietly. I just miss you. That made him pause. His expression softened for a moment, but then his phone buzzed. The softness vanished as he reached for it. I watched him, the way his lips curved slightly as he read the screen. Who's that? I asked. Work, he replied too quickly, slipping the phone face down on the table. I looked at him, searching for the man I'd fallen in love with, the one who used to stay up late helping me paint, the one who laughed at my terrible cooking. You remember the night you proposed? I asked. You said we'd be each other's home. He frowned. Of course I remember. It doesn't feel like home anymore. He exhaled sharply. Lena, please. Not tonight. I have a meeting early morning. So do I said. With my loneliness. That made him glare. Don't guilt-trip me. You knew what life with an entrepreneur meant. And you knew what life with an artist meant, I shot back. We both dream, Aiden. But I never stopped dreaming with you. He pushed the chair back, standing. You always find a way to make me the villain. I'm not, I whispered, feeling the sting of tears. I'm just trying to hold on. He picked up his laptop. Then stop holding on so tight. I'll be late tonight. The door closed behind him before I could say another word. The silence in the apartment pressed against me. I sat there for a long time, staring at our half-eaten dinner. My pasta was cold. The candles had burned low, flickering like weak hope. My phone buzzed. A message from Maya. You okay, sunshine? Haven't heard from you all week. I stared at the screen, then typed, just tired. He's busy again. Seconds later, her reply came. Busy or avoiding you? Be honest. I hesitated. I don't know anymore. Come over tomorrow. I'll feed you and we'll talk trash about men with laptops. A weak laugh escaped me. You're terrible. I'm right though. She always was. The next morning, I woke up to an empty bed and a text on the pillow. Didn't want to wake you. Breakfast in the fridge. Love you. I smiled sadly. The note felt like a ghost of affection, polite and distant. When I opened the fridge, there was no breakfast. Just cold air. Later, at Maya's place, I found myself venting over coffee. He used to tell me everything. Now I feel like a stranger living in his house. Maya stirred her drink. You sure he's not just stressed? Startups can mess people up. I've told myself that 100 times, I said. But it's not just stress. It's distance. Like he's here but already gone. Have you tried talking about it? She asked gently. Every time I do, he shuts down. Says I'm overthinking. Classic deflection, she muttered. Men love that trick. I gave her a small smile. You really hate men today. I don't hate men, she said, sipping her coffee. I hate watching my best friend fade because of one. Her words hit me harder than I expected. Do you think I'm fading? She reached across the table and squeezed my hand. I think you're still hoping he'll come back to who he was. I married that hope, I said softly. I don't know how to let it go. Maya's eyes softened. Then maybe stop chasing who he was and look at who he's become. I looked down. I don't like who he's become. Then what are you going to do, Lena? I didn't answer. I didn't know. That night I tried again. When Aiden came home past midnight, I sat waiting on the couch. You're late. He loosened his tie, barely glancing at me. The meeting ran long. With who? Investors. Do investors wear red lipstick? The question slipped out before I could stop it. He froze. What? I saw it, I said quietly. On your collar. His jaw tightened. You're imagining things. No, Aiden. I'm not blind. My voice trembled. Just tell me the truth. There's nothing to tell, he snapped. You're being paranoid again. I'm being hurt, not paranoid, I said. If something's wrong, I'd rather hear it from you. He laughed bitterly. You always need drama. Not everything's a painting full of emotion, Elena. Maybe if you treated me like I still mattered, I wouldn't have to guess how you feel. He rubbed his face. I don't have time for this. Then make time, I whispered. For once. He grabbed his jacket. I'm staying at the office. I stood, voice breaking. Do you still love me? He didn't answer. The door slammed, echoing through the apartment like thunder. I sank to the floor, my body shaking. The city lights blinked through the window, cruel and distant. I looked at my reflection in the glass. The woman staring back seemed older, emptier. I whispered into the quiet, I used to believe love could survive anything. My own voice sounded foreign. I pressed my hands against my chest, trying to feel something, anything. But all I felt was the hollow space where love used to live. It started with a feeling I couldn't shake, the kind that crawls under your skin and whispers something's wrong. Aiden had said he was working late again, but his suit was too crisp, his cologne too strong, and his voice too calm when he left. Maya's words echoed in my mind, stop waiting for proof. Trust what you feel. That night I did. I called a cab and told the driver to follow Aiden's car. My heart thudded so hard I thought he'd hear it from his rearview mirror. Ma'am, you sure you want to do this? The driver asked, glancing at me through the mirror. I nodded. Just keep some distance. He shrugged. Whatever you say. When Aiden's car stopped outside a glowing restaurant, latelier the kind of place we used to save months for, my stomach twisted. I paid the driver, stepped out and pulled my coat tighter. My breath fogged in the cold air as I walked closer. Through the glass I saw him. He was laughing. Relaxed. Happy. The way he hadn't been with me in months. And sitting across from him was Sabrina, my college friend. Her red dress shimmered under the chandelier. I could never forget that laugh, high musical fake. My fingers went numb. She leaned forward, touched his hand, whispered something that made him grin. Then she kissed him. The world tilted. The restaurant lights blurred. For a second I thought I might collapse right there. I pushed the door open and walked in. The sound of my heels on marble echoed louder than my heartbeat. Sabrina saw me first. Her smile froze mid-sentence. Elena? Aiden turned and his face drained of color. What the hell? Don't stop, I said, my voice shaking but steady enough to cut through the air. I'd hate to interrupt your romantic evening. Elena, it's not what it looks like, he started. Oh, so you're not holding her hand in the restaurant we used to celebrate our anniversaries? He stood up, jaw tight. You followed me? I laughed bitterly. Would you rather I stayed home, painting lies about the husband who's working late again? Lower your voice, he hissed. People are staring. They should, I said. They're watching a man betray his wife. Sabrina rose slowly, pretending calm. Elena, please, this isn't the place. I turned to her. You don't get to say my name like that. You don't get to breathe my name. Elena. You were my friend, I said, voice breaking. You knew what he meant to me. She looked down, her silence louder than any excuse. Aiden grabbed my arm. Let's talk outside. Don't touch me. I yanked free. You don't get to touch me ever again. His face hardened. The man who once swore I was his home now looked at me like I was a stranger breaking into his perfect lie. You're overreacting, he said coldly. It just happened. I blinked. It just happened? What, like tripping into her lips? Sleeping with her by accident? Stop it, he snapped. You're embarrassing yourself. No, Aiden. You embarrassed us the moment you let her replace me. Don't make this harder, he said quietly, glancing at Sabrina. Oh, I'm sorry, I said, laughing through tears. Am I ruining your date? Elena. Don't, I cut him off. Just tell me why. Tell me what I did wrong. He exhaled slowly as if tired of me. You didn't do anything wrong, he said. You just stopped inspiring me. My heart stopped. What? You were always comfortable being small, he said, his voice low but sharp. I wanted more. You didn't fit into the life I was building. I stared at him. So you threw me away? He shrugged. You wouldn't have understood. Try me. His next words sliced through me like glass. You were never enough, Elena. For a moment, everything went silent. The music, the chatter, even my heartbeat disappeared. All I could hear was the sound of something inside me cracking wide open. Sabrina whispered, Aiden? He didn't even look at her. His eyes were on me, cold and final. I steadied myself against the table. You think this is strength? Trading love for greed. He said nothing. I wiped my tears, straightened my coat. Then I guess you found your match, I said, looking at Sabrina. Two people who deserve each other. I turned to leave, but Sabrina's voice followed me. Elena, wait. I looked back. Don't. My voice came out softer than I felt. You already took everything. I walked out into the cold night. The door shut behind me and the noise of the restaurant faded. I stood on the sidewalk trembling. The city lights blurred through my tears. My reflection in the glass looked like someone I didn't recognize, a woman who just lost everything. My phone buzzed. Ma, you okay? I typed slowly. No. Seconds later she called. Elena, what happened? I saw them, I whispered. Aiden and Sabrina. Her breath caught. What? No. No, you can't be serious. I wish I wasn't. Where are you? In front of Latelier, I said, voice breaking. I'm coming right now. No, I said quickly. Don't. I can't see anyone right now. Elena. Maya, please. She went quiet, then said softly, then promise me you'll go home. Don't do anything stupid. I won't, I said. Home's the only place left. But when I reached home it didn't feel like home anymore. The walls were too quiet. The air smelled like his cologne. I walked into the bedroom and saw his tie thrown carelessly on the bed, the same one he'd worn tonight. I picked it up and pressed it to my face, inhaling the faint scent of betrayal. Then I dropped it like it burned. In the mirror I saw my reflection, swollen eyes, trembling lips, hair clinging to my cheeks. I whispered, you were never enough, testing the words that had destroyed me. They sounded smaller out loud. Hollow. False. I opened the closet and began pulling my clothes down, one by one, throwing them into a suitcase. The noise filled the silence like thunder. When I reached our wedding photo I stopped. His smile, my happiness, the promise that now felt like a joke. I stared at it for a long moment before setting it face down. The sound of glass cracking filled the room as I dropped the frame. I zipped the suitcase, wiped my tears and whispered, I was enough. You just didn't deserve me. Then I walked out, with nothing but my broken heart and the strength I didn't know I had. I stared at the divorce papers for a long time before signing them. My hand shook, my chest felt hollow. The last line, assets divided accordingly, mocked me. There were no assets left for me. When I finally spoke, my voice barely came out. You took everything, didn't you? Aiden didn't even flinch. You'll be fine. Fine? I laughed, the sound harsh and broken. You emptied our account, changed the locks and took my name off the deed. What's left for me? You didn't look at me. You should have read what you signed. I trusted you, I whispered. He shrugged. Your mistake. I stood, heart pounding. You'll regret this one day. He smirked. Doubt it. That was the last thing he said to me before walking away. No guilt, no hesitation, just a man who'd already erased me. Maya helped me pack what little I had left. My clothes fit into one bag, my art supplies into another. She held my hands tightly. You don't have to go, Lena. Stay here. Stay with me. I shook my head. I can't. Every corner of this city smells like him. I can't breathe here. You're not alone, she said. Let me help. I've already taken too much from you. You haven't taken anything. I have, I cut her off. Your time. Your money. Your patience. I can't keep living off someone's kindness. She sighed, eyes shining. Where will you go? I don't know yet, I said. But anywhere is better than here. Her lips trembled. At least promise me you'll call. I will, I lied. She hugged me tightly. You deserve more than this. As the bus pulled away, I watched her fade in the rearview mirror. My stomach twisted, not just from grief but from the tiny heartbeat growing inside me. Weeks passed in fragments. Cheap motels, bus rides, small towns that smelled of rain and dust. I stopped counting days and started counting coins. Sometimes I sold my sketches. Sometimes I just went hungry. One night, in a rundown motel, I stared at the ultrasound photo the nurse had given me. 2 heartbeats. Twins, she'd said with a smile. Now I whispered to the photo, Liam and Luna. That's what I'll call you. Talking to them made the loneliness bearable. The motel manager knocked on my door the next morning. Payments due. I held out the last few bills I had. This is all I can give. He frowned. That's one night, not 3. I'll leave by morning. Good, he muttered and walked away. When the door closed, I pressed my hand over my stomach. It's okay, I whispered. We'll find somewhere better. But that night, as I lay awake listening to the rain leak through the ceiling, I broke down. I'm sorry, I whispered into the dark. I'm trying. 2 months later, I went into labor in a bus terminal. The pain hit like lightning. I remember collapsing, people shouting, the sound of sirens. Someone held my hand, a stranger, and said, "You'll be okay." I didn't believe her. The hospital smelled of disinfectant and cold metal. I screamed until I couldn't anymore. Then I heard it, two cries, small and fragile. The nurse placed tiny bundles in my arms. "Congratulations, sweetheart. A boy and a girl." I looked at them through tears. "Liam and Luna," I whispered. My whole world. They were perfect, dark hair, tiny fists, eyes closed tight. I pressed my lips to their foreheads. "You'll never have to feel what I feel tonight," I promised. The nurse smiled. "Do you have someone we can call?" I hesitated. "No. Just us." She nodded softly. "Then rest, Mama. You've done enough for today." But how could I rest when I had no idea where we'd go tomorrow? 3 days later they discharged me. I had nowhere to take them. Outside the hospital, I sat on a bench, wrapping the babies in a blanket. The city lights blurred in the rain. People passed by, not looking. A man in a suit dropped a coin into the baby carrier. I stared at it. "I'm not begging," I muttered. But he was already gone. I laughed bitterly. "Guess this is what I've become." A woman sitting nearby smiled sadly. "You're not begging. You're surviving." Her words stayed with me long after she left. That night, I found an abandoned bus stop with a broken roof. I sat there holding Liam and Luna close, rocking them as the wind howled. Luna stirred, her tiny hand brushing my cheek. "You're my brave girl," I whispered. Liam made a soft sound and I smiled through tears. "And you're my little soldier." The cold bit through my coat, but I held them tighter. "We'll make it. I don't know how, but we will." The next morning I found a community shelter. The woman at the front desk looked at me, messy hair, bruised eyes, newborns wrapped in a blanket, and sighed. "You're lucky. 2 cribs just opened up." I nodded, too tired to cry. "Thank you." The beds were small but clean. I laid the babies down and just watched them sleep. For the first time in months I felt peace. Later, one of the volunteers asked, "Do you have family we can contact?" I shook my head. "They're gone." "What about the father?" I looked at my hands. "He's gone too." She nodded gently. "Then you start new." I whispered, "That's all I can do." That night, I sat by the window watching the city glow through the rain. My whole life had burned down. My home, my love, my dreams, but these 2 tiny souls were untouched by the ashes. I held their hands in mine and whispered, "You'll never see me break, no matter what it takes." Their breathing softened into sleep, and for the first time I didn't feel empty. I felt fierce. The world had taken everything from me, but as I watched my children sleep, I realized something Aiden never would. I might have lost my life, but I'd found my purpose. I kissed their foreheads. "We may be homeless," I whispered, "but my heart's right here." "Mommy, are we rich yet?" Liam asked as he sat beside me on the cold pavement, swinging his little legs. His voice was hopeful, innocent, too pure for the world we lived in. I smiled, even though my hands ached from painting. "Not yet, my love. But one day we'll be so rich people will ask us for money." Luna giggled. "Then I'll buy a castle." I pretended to gasp. "A castle? That's too big for just us." She tilted her head. "Then I'll invite everyone who's nice." "Deal," I said, brushing a strand of hair from her cheek. "But only the nice ones." They laughed together, their laughter soft against the noise of the city. The sidewalk had become our world. My paintings spread out like fragile pieces of my heart. A man stopped to look at one. "How much?" "Whatever you think it's worth," I said. He stared for a moment before dropping a few coins. "Beautiful work. You've got talent." I smiled politely. "Thank you." He walked away without another word. I watched him go, wondering if Aiden ever stopped to look at people like us, the invisible ones. That night, after feeding the twins the last of the rice and beans, I tucked them under the thin blanket we all shared. The room smelled of damp wood and old dreams. "Story time." Luna chirped, her eyes bright even in the dark. "What story tonight?" I asked. "The one about the girl who never gave up," Liam said, already grinning. I sighed, smiling faintly. "Again?" "Please, Mommy," they both said in unison. I began softly. "Once upon a time, there was a girl who lost everything. Her home, her friends, even her heart. But she kept walking even when her feet bled, because she knew someday, life would bow before her courage." Luna whispered, "Did she find her happy ending?" "Not yet," I said. "But she will." Liam frowned. "How?" "Because she learned to make her own magic," I said, touching their hair. "Magic made of hard work and hope." They drifted to sleep, their small hands curled around mine. When the room went quiet, I whispered into the dark, "You'll never know what he did to us. You'll never know what I lost to keep you safe. The anger I kept buried rose again, slow, heavy, dangerous. Sometimes I'd see Aiden and Sabrina on TV when I passed by the electronics shop. Their smiles gleamed under the lights, perfect and polished. The caption always read, Aiden Gray, tech visionary, and his beautiful wife Sabrina. I'd stand there holding my basket of paintings, staring at the screen like it was mocking me. A reporter once asked him, "What's your secret to success?" He laughed, that same laugh I used to love, and said, "Never look back." I remember whispering, "You will." Weeks turned into months. Seasons changed, but my life stayed cold. Still I painted faces, sunsets, hands reaching for hope. People began to notice. One morning a woman stopped in front of my stall. "You painted this?" she asked, holding up a portrait of a child. "Yes," I said cautiously. Her eyes softened. "It's beautiful. You see people differently." I shrugged. "Maybe because I've lost enough to really look." She smiled and handed me a folded bill. "Keep painting. Don't give up." When she left, I unfolded it, $100 note. My hands trembled. For the first time in years I could buy real food. That night I cooked chicken soup. The smell filled our tiny room. Liam and Luna's eyes widened. "Chicken?" Liam gasped. "Real chicken?" Luna added. "Real?" I said laughing. "Don't act like I just brought gold." Liam slurped loudly. "This tastes like rich people food." I laughed until I cried. Later, when they slept, I stared out the window at the distant glow of skyscrapers. Somewhere in one of those buildings, Aiden was probably hosting another celebration. Champagne, laughter, luxury. I whispered to the night, "You traded love for money. I hope it keeps you warm." Sometimes I hated myself for still thinking about him. But no matter how far I ran, he lived in every bruise life gave me. The next day Maya called for the first time in months. "Lena? Oh my God, you're alive." I smiled weakly. "Barely. But yes." "Where are you?" "Nowhere you'd want to see." "Don't say that," she said. "You're stronger than you think." I looked around at the peeling walls. "Strong doesn't feed kids, Maya." "I can send money," she offered. "No," I said firmly. "I need to earn it myself. You don't have to do everything alone." "I do," I said. "Because no one else will." She was quiet for a moment, then whispered, "You still think about him?" "Every time I breathe," I admitted. "Then use it," she said. "Turn it into something beautiful." When the call ended, I sat there for a long time, her words echoing inside me. Maybe she was right. Months later, a man approached my stall again. "You've improved," he said, studying a painting of a woman holding two children. I smiled faintly. "I've had good teachers." "Who?" "Life," I said. He chuckled. "Life's the cruelest one." "Maybe," I said softly. "But it never lets you stay the same." He nodded, handed me cash and walked away. I watched him go, realizing something had shifted inside me. The anger was still there, but it no longer burned, it glowed. Controlled. Purposeful. That night I told the twins a different story. "Once upon a time," I said, "there was a girl who was betrayed, but instead of breaking, she became stronger." Liam's eyes widened. "Did she get her revenge?" I smiled. "Not yet. But karma was already on her side." Luna yawned. "What's karma?" "It's the universe remembering what's fair," I said. "Even when people forget." They drifted to sleep as I whispered, "And one day the world will remember her name." I lay back on the floor, staring at the ceiling, listening to their breathing. The pain was still there, but it didn't own me anymore. It had become something else, fuel. 3 years had passed since I lost everything. 3 years of hunger, fear, and fighting for each sunrise. But tonight, for the first time, I didn't feel broken. I felt ready. The rain poured harder than I'd ever seen. I sat on the edge of the sidewalk, trying to finish a half-done painting before the storm swallowed it. My fingers were numb, my clothes soaked through, but I couldn't stop. I needed to sell at least one more piece before nightfall. "Mommy, we're cold," Luna whispered, her tiny hand tugging at my sleeve. "I know, baby," I said softly. "Just a few more minutes." Liam sniffled. "No one's coming, Mom." I looked at their small, shivering bodies under the plastic sheet I'd tied above them. My heart ached. "Someone will," I said, though I didn't believe it. A flash of thunder cracked overhead. I felt dizzy, the edges of the world blurring. My brush slipped from my hand. The last thing I saw before everything went black was the paint mixing with rainwater, colors bleeding into the street. I woke up to the sound of a car door closing and a voice saying, "Hey, are you okay?" My eyelids fluttered open. A man knelt beside me, his suit drenched. His face was unfamiliar, sharp jawline, kind eyes, hair plastered to his forehead. "Can you hear me?" he asked. I nodded weakly. "My kids, where are they?" He turned. "They're fine. Sitting in my car." I gave them a blanket. I tried to stand but my legs trembled. "You shouldn't have." "Relax," he said gently, slipping his arm around me. "Let me help." His touch was steady, not demanding, not pitying. Just human. When he opened the car door, I saw Liam and Luna huddled together, wrapped in a warm coat. Luna looked up, eyes wide. "Mommy?" I smiled faintly. "It's okay, baby. Mommy's fine." The man handed me a towel. "You need to get out of those wet clothes before you get sick." "I can't afford a doctor," I muttered. He frowned. "That's not what I meant. There's a shelter nearby. I'll take you there." I hesitated. "You don't even know me." He met my eyes. "You passed out in the rain holding a paintbrush. I think that tells me enough." Something in his voice, calm, sincere, made me nod. At the shelter, the woman at the counter smiled when she saw him. "Back again, Mr. Carter?" "Just helping where I can," he said, then turned to me. "They'll take care of you here. Hot meals, warm beds." "Mr. Carter?" I asked quietly. You do this often?" He shrugged. "When I see someone who reminds me what matters." I frowned. "And what's that?" He smiled faintly. "Kindness." When the woman led the twins to their beds, I stood awkwardly near the door. "I don't know how to thank you." "Start by eating something," he said. "And maybe telling me your name." "Elena," I said. "Elena," he repeated softly. "Nice to meet you even under terrible weather." I managed a small laugh. "You really shouldn't have helped me. I'm used to managing on my own." He raised an eyebrow. "Managing? You were unconscious in the rain." "I mean, surviving," I corrected. "That's what I do." He studied me for a moment. "Maybe you've survived enough." His words lingered long after he left. The next morning I found him again outside, leaning against his car, sipping coffee. "You're still here?" I asked. He smiled. "You look better dry." "I didn't expect you to wait." He shrugged. "You left your painting in the street. I rescued it." He held it out, the half-finished piece, edges warped from rain, colors faded. I took it carefully. "It's ruined. Or maybe it's unfinished," he said. "You could make something new out of it." I frowned. "Why do you care so much?" He hesitated. "Because someone once helped me when I didn't deserve it. I'm just passing it on." His honesty disarmed me. "You talk like you've been where I am." He looked away. "Maybe worse." For a moment, silence hung between us, soft, understanding, heavy with unspoken stories. Then he reached into his coat and pulled out an envelope. "I want to buy this painting." I blinked. "What? It's not even finished." He smiled. "Neither are you." I shook my head. "No. I don't take charity." "It's not charity," he said firmly. "It's appreciation." "I can't," I whispered. He met my eyes again. "Elena, when someone offers you a hand, it's not weakness to take it. Sometimes it's strength." I didn't know what to say. His voice was gentle, but his words hit deep, like he understood exactly how pride could become a cage. Finally, I took the envelope. "Thank you." He smiled. "You're welcome. And for the record, my name's Ethan." "Ethan," I repeated. "You're too kind for a stranger." "Maybe we won't stay strangers," he said. That evening after he left, I opened the envelope. Inside was $500 and a note. "For the artist who paints hope even in the rain." I pressed it to my chest, tears burning my eyes. For years, I'd believed the world had nothing left to give me. But that night, it gave me Ethan, and with him, a glimpse of something I hadn't felt in forever. Hope. When Liam asked, "Mommy, who was that nice man?" I smiled. "Someone who reminded me that good people still exist." Luna tilted her head. "Will we see him again?" I looked out the window at the rain easing into a soft drizzle. "Maybe," I said. "If the world is kind." And for the first time in years, I wanted to believe it could be. "Are you sure about this?" I asked, staring at the empty space Ethan called a gallery. The walls were bare, the air thick with dust, and the faint smell of paint lingered like a promise I wasn't ready to believe in. Ethan smiled. "I've never been more sure. You just need a place to start." "I need money more than a place," I said quietly. "You'll earn it," he replied. "Once people see what you can do." I shook my head. "You don't know that. Art doesn't fix lives." He folded his arms. No, but it saved yours, didn't it? His words stopped me. I looked down at my hands, the same hands that had once begged, painted, held my children close. You think I can make this work? I don't think, he said, his tone soft but certain. I know. I wanted to believe him. I really did. For weeks we worked together, painting, cleaning, repairing the old gallery. The twins helped too, laughing as they chased each other with paintbrushes. Careful, Luna, I said, trying not to laugh as she splattered blue across the floor. It's art, Mommy, she declared proudly. Ethan chuckled. She's got your spirit. Or my mess, I muttered, smiling. He handed me a roller. Mess is part of creation. I rolled paint along the wall and glanced at him. You talk like an artist. He smiled faintly. Maybe I used to be one, just not with colors. I frowned. What do you mean? He hesitated, eyes distant. I used to build things. Companies mostly. Until I lost one. I looked at him, waiting. My partner stole everything, he said. Money, clients, my reputation. I went from Forbes lists to lawsuits in a month. I exhaled slowly. You know, that's funny. Funny? He asked. Because my husband did the same to me. He nodded, understanding in his eyes. Then maybe we're both rebuilding. For the first time I smiled without pain. Maybe we are. The first day the gallery opened I was terrified. What if no one comes? I asked, pacing. Ethan looked up from arranging the paintings. Then we'll eat the snacks and call it a private party. I laughed nervously. You're impossible. And you're incredible, he said simply. People did come, a few at first, curious strangers wandering in from the street. I watched them study my art, whispering to each other. My chest tightened as a woman stopped in front of a painting titled The Bridge That Burned. This one feels real, she said. It is, I replied softly. She turned. You painted it? I nodded. She smiled. Then I'll take it. When she handed me the money I froze. My first sale. My fingers trembled as I accepted it. Ethan grinned. Told you so. I laughed, the sound light and unfamiliar. Don't say it. Say what? That you were right. He smirked. I was right. I rolled my eyes, but my heart was full. Weeks passed and more people came. Each painting sold felt like a piece of my soul finding a home. I started waking up before sunrise, sketching until my fingers hurt. One evening, Ethan found me sitting on the gallery floor surrounded by half-finished canvases. You're obsessed, he said, smiling. I'm alive, I corrected. That's new. He walked closer. You ever notice how your paintings have changed? I frowned. Changed? They used to bleed pain, he said softly. Now they breathe hope. I looked at the canvas, a mother and two children standing under the rain, faces turned toward the light. Maybe I'm painting what I want to feel. He nodded. That's how healing starts. I turned to him. You talk like someone who's done this before. He chuckled. Maybe I have. Just in a different way. I tilted my head. You never told me what made you start helping people like me. His smile faded. Because I couldn't help the one person who needed me most. I hesitated. Who was she? My sister, he said quietly. She struggled with addiction. I was too focused on success to notice she was drowning. When I finally looked up, it was too late. The silence that followed was heavy, raw. I'm sorry, I whispered. He shook his head. Don't be. You remind me that people can still fight their way back. My throat tightened. Then maybe we both needed to find each other. He met my gaze, something unspoken passing between us. Months later, the gallery walls were filled with color, the air with laughter. Liam and Luna had turned a corner of the place into their studio, and Ethan had somehow become part of our little chaos. Mommy, Ethan said he can't draw. Liam shouted. I laughed. He's right. He can't. Ethan raised his hands in mock defense. I'm good at stick figures. Luna giggled. They're scary. I grinned. You're fired, Mr. Carter. Good, he said, pretending offense. I'll stick to business. But later, when the kids were asleep and the gallery was quiet, he sat beside me as I painted under the glow of the city lights. You ever think about the past? He asked softly. Every day, I said. But it doesn't hurt as much. He nodded. That's progress. I dipped my brush in gold paint. Sometimes I think I lost everything to find the parts of me I never knew. He leaned back, watching the city outside. Sometimes pain gives us wings. I smiled faintly. Wings? He nodded. You fall so hard that flying becomes your only choice. I looked at my reflection in the window, Paint on my hands, light in my eyes, strength in my smile. Maybe I was already flying. I just hadn't noticed. Congratulations, Elena. Claire, my gallery assistant, waved an envelope at me as I walked in. You just got invited to something huge. I set my coffee down. An invitation? From who? She grinned. A luxury fashion brand, Aurora Atelier. They want to feature your artwork at their upcoming gala. My breath caught. Wait, the Aurora Atelier? The one that works with big designers? Exactly, she said. This could change everything. I took the envelope with trembling hands. The gold letters shimmered under the light. Aurora Atelier Art and Fashion Gala, sponsored by Aiden and Sabrina Enterprises. The world tilted. My throat went dry. Claire frowned. Elena? You look like you've seen a ghost. I have, I whispered. Ethan walked in a few minutes later, holding a box of supplies. Why does everyone look so serious? Claire pointed at me. She just got invited to an exhibition gala hosted by a major company. That's great, he said, smiling, until he saw my face. What's wrong? I handed him the envelope. Read the last line. He scanned it, then looked at me sharply. Aiden and Sabrina Enterprises? I nodded, trying to keep my voice steady. His company. He exhaled slowly. Elena, you don't have to go. I do, I said quietly. This isn't just an art event. It's something else. Revenge? He asked. I forced a smile. Closure. He leaned on the counter, eyes searching mine. You sure you're ready for that? I've been ready for 3 years, I said. I just didn't know it until now. He studied me for a moment, then nodded. Then we'll do this together. I shook my head. No, Ethan. I need to do it alone. I'm not saying I'll interfere, he said softly. But I'll be there if you need me. I looked at him, steady, patient, kind, and felt something twist inside me. Thank you. That night, I sat at my desk staring at the invitation. My hands traced the embossed logo I once dreamed of being part of when Aiden and I were still together. I remembered the nights he'd whisper, "One day we'll have our names on something like this." And now he did. Just without me. I laughed bitterly. Looks like you got your dream, Aiden. Liam peeked out of his room. Mommy, who are you talking to? I smiled. No one, sweetheart. Just an old ghost. He yawned. You're smiling weird. I'm fine, I said. Go back to bed. When he disappeared, I whispered, You'll see, Aiden. This time, I'm not the one walking away in tears. The next day, Ethan found me at the gallery, obsessively rearranging paintings. You're nervous, he said. I'm fine, I lied. You've changed the layout 5 times in an hour. I sighed. Maybe I am nervous. He smiled slightly. Good. Nervous means it matters. I sat on the stool. What if he sees me and doesn't even recognize me? Then that's his loss, Ethan said. You're not the same woman he left. I looked at him. You really believe that? I know it, he said firmly. You rebuilt yourself from ashes. Don't forget that. His words steadied me more than I wanted to admit. You always know what to say. He chuckled. It's my only talent. I smiled. You have more than one. His gaze softened. Maybe. But helping you find yours, that's my favorite. I looked away, my chest tightening. You make it hard to hate the world, you know that? That's the idea, he said quietly. A week later, the gala invitation sat framed on my work table, a symbol of everything I'd survived. Claire peeked into my office. You picked a dress yet? I groaned. Do I have to? It's a gala, she said. You can't just show up in paint-stained jeans. I might, I muttered. Ethan appeared behind her holding a garment bag. You won't. Try this. I raised an eyebrow. You bought me a dress? Borrowed, he said with a smile. From a designer friend. Consider it a lucky charm. I unzipped the bag and gasped. The dress was elegant but simple, midnight blue, soft fabric that shimmered faintly under light. It's beautiful, I whispered. So are you, he said before quickly adding, I mean, you'll look beautiful in it. I smiled, teasing. Nice save. He grinned. You'll thank me when people can't stop staring. I rolled my eyes. That's not the goal. Maybe not for you, he said. But it'll make quite an impression on your ex. I froze. That's not why I'm going. He nodded slowly. I know. But it doesn't hurt to look like you've won. I didn't win, I said softly. I just survived. He looked at me serious now. Sometimes surviving is winning. That night I lay awake staring at the ceiling. My mind was loud, Memories, doubts, questions. I imagined Aiden's face when he saw me again, imagined the moment he realized the woman he destroyed was still standing. Luna stirred beside me. "Mommy, can I sleep in your arms?" I smiled and pulled her close. "Of course, my love." Her tiny hands curled around my fingers. "You're strong," she murmured sleepily. "Daddy doesn't deserve to see you sad." Her words pierced me. "You're right, baby. He doesn't." When she drifted off, I whispered, "Tomorrow the past meets the present. And this time I won't break." The next morning Ethan picked me up. When I stepped into the car wearing the blue dress, he stared for a moment. "What?" I asked. He smiled slowly. "You look unstoppable." I laughed nervously. "That's a first." He handed me the invitation. "Ready to face your past?" I took a deep breath, my hands steady for the first time in years. "No," I said. "But I'm going anyway." As the city lights came into view, I looked out the window, heart pounding. Fate had built the stage and karma was waiting in the wings. Ethan glanced at me. "You okay?" I smiled faintly. "Yes," I lied. But deep inside, I knew this wasn't just another night. This was the beginning of everything Aiden never saw coming. The ballroom glittered like another world, crystal chandeliers, champagne laughter, gold everywhere. My heels clicked against marble, every step echoing louder than my heartbeat. I told myself to breathe. Ethan's voice whispered beside me, calm and grounding. "You okay?" I nodded, eyes fixed ahead. "I've walked through worse places. Just not this kind of battlefield." He smiled faintly. "You don't need armor tonight. You are the weapon." That made me laugh softly. "I'll remember that." As we entered the main hall, heads turned. My dress caught the light, blue silk flowing like calm water. For once I didn't feel invisible. Then I saw him. Aiden. He stood near the stage, surrounded by photographers, his hand resting lightly on Sabrina's waist. She glittered in diamonds, her laugh too polished, too perfect. My stomach tightened. He looked exactly the same, confident, immaculate, untouchable. Until his gaze found me. The color drained from his face. His hand slipped from Sabrina's waist. "Elena?" His voice cracked, barely a whisper. Sabrina turned, her smile freezing mid-laugh. "Oh my God," she breathed. "It is her." I smiled, steady and cold. "Surprised?" Aiden took a step forward, disbelief twisting his features. "What are you doing here?" "Exhibiting," I said, nodding toward the far wall where my paintings hung beneath a gold banner. "Elena Gray, featured artist." The name struck him like lightning. His lips parted. "You kept my name." "No," I said quietly. "I reclaimed it." Sabrina's laugh wavered. "How quaint. You're an artist now?" "I always was," I replied. "You just never noticed." The guests nearby turned curious, whispers spreading like wildfire. Aiden cleared his throat, trying to recover his composure. "Well, congratulations, I suppose. It's good to see you've moved on." "Moved on?" I tilted my head. "You mean survived?" His jaw clenched. "That's not what I meant." "It's exactly what you meant," I said, my voice low but sharp. "You left me with nothing. Now here I am, with everything you can't buy." The silence around us deepened. Sabrina's smile faltered completely. "Elena, really? This isn't the place for drama." "Oh, don't worry," I said. "I didn't come for drama. I came to sell art." Ethan appeared beside me, calm and confident. "And it looks like she's doing that quite well." Aiden's gaze flicked to him. "And you are?" "Ethan Carter," he said, shaking his hand with deliberate composure. "Investor. Friend." Sabrina's brow arched. "Friend?" Ethan smiled slightly. "A little more than that, I hope." Aiden's eyes darkened. "I see." I met his gaze and smiled. "No, you don't." Later, during the speech, the host's voice echoed through the hall. "And now, our featured artist, Ms. Elena Gray." Applause filled the room. I stepped up to the stage, heart hammering, palms cold. I could feel Aiden's eyes on me the entire time. I took the microphone and smiled. "Thank you for being here tonight. Every piece you see on these walls was born from pain, rebuilt with hope, and painted with truth. I lost everything once: love, home, dignity. But loss is a teacher. It forces you to see who you really are." I paused, scanning the crowd until my eyes found Aiden and Sabrina. "Some people build empires on lies," I said clearly, "and some build them on pain. Guess which one stands longer?" Gasps rippled through the audience. Aiden's jaw tightened. Sabrina's hand gripped his arm. I set the microphone down, the applause hesitant but growing. My heart was racing, but I felt alive. Every word, every breath, a piece of my revenge blooming quietly. Ethan caught my eye from the crowd and nodded, his smile steady, proud. Afterward, as guests wandered between paintings, I heard snippets of whispers. She's stunning. That story, did you hear what she said? Wasn't that her ex-husband she was talking about? I ignored them and moved toward the back, needing air. Aiden found me there. That was unnecessary, he said, his voice low. What, the truth? I asked. He glared. You humiliated me. I turned to him fully. You humiliated yourself the moment you traded loyalty for greed. He took a breath, trying to sound composed. You don't know what it's like to fight for success. Oh, I do, I said softly. The only difference is I didn't step on someone who loved me to get there. He looked away, jaw tight. I made mistakes. No, Aiden. You made choices. His silence said everything. Then he murmured, You've changed. I smiled faintly. No. You just never saw me clearly before. Sabrina's heels clicked as she joined us. Darling, people are staring, she said sharply. Aiden turned, exasperated. Not now, Sabrina. She frowned. You're defending her? He sighed. I'm not. I stepped closer, my voice calm but cutting. Relax, Sabrina. I'm not here to take him back. I already survived losing him once. I wouldn't risk surviving it again. Her cheeks flushed red. You're pathetic. And you're predictable, I said, smiling. Don't worry, Karma's still got your name on her list. Sabrina scoffed and stormed away. Aiden stared after her, then whispered, You really don't hate me? I looked at him, my heart strangely still. I did. For a long time. But now I just feel sorry for you. His shoulders dropped. I wish. Don't, I interrupted. Wishes are for people who still have hope. He didn't respond. He just stood there, broken beneath the weight of what he'd lost. I walked away. The auction started soon after. My final piece, The Phoenix Within, was unveiled, a woman rising from ashes, golden wings spread wide. The room fell silent. The host began the bidding. We'll start at $10,000. Voices echoed around the hall. 15, 20, 30. Then a voice from the front said clearly, 100,000. I turned. Ethan. He smiled at me, calm and certain. Worth every penny. Whispers filled the room again. Cameras flashed. The host stuttered. Sold, to Mr. Ethan Carter. Applause erupted. I looked at him, my throat tight. Afterward, I whispered, You didn't have to do that. He smiled. I wanted to. You built that piece from your soul. I just gave it a home. I blinked back tears. You always know what to say. He looked at me softly. That's because I see you. When the gala ended, I walked outside, the night air cool against my skin. The city lights shimmered like applause I didn't need to hear. Aiden stood near his car, watching me. His face was pale, eyes hollow. He didn't say anything. He didn't need to. I smiled, quiet and victorious. For the first time, he realized what he had truly lost. Something he could never buy again. Me. The morning after the gala, the world woke up talking about me, and about them. Headlines filled the newsstands. Aurora Atelier scandal? Sabrina Gray under investigation. I sat in my gallery, sipping coffee, watching the rain blur the world outside. Claire burst through the door, waving her phone. Elena, have you seen this? I looked up. No. What now? She read aloud, breathless. Authorities discovered irregular financial reports from Aiden and Sabrina Enterprises. Fraudulent transactions, forged investor documents. It's everywhere. I leaned back in my chair, heart pounding. Already? Claire nodded. Karma doesn't wait long, does it? I smiled faintly. No, she's very punctual. Ethan walked in moments later, rain clinging to his coat. You heard? I just did, I said. It's all falling apart. He nodded. I'd say I feel bad, but you don't, I finished for him. He chuckled softly. Not even a little. I sighed. It's strange. I thought I'd be thrilled, but all I feel is peace. That's better than revenge, he said quietly. Maybe, I murmured. But revenge tastes sweeter when it serves itself. By evening, the rain hadn't stopped. I was closing the gallery when I saw a figure outside through the window, tall, drenched, motionless. My heart skipped. I knew that stance. When I opened the door, the wind hit me hard, cold and sharp. Aiden stood there, soaked to the bone, his once polished appearance replaced by exhaustion. Elena, he said, voice trembling. Please. I stared at him, my hand still on the door. You shouldn't be here. I had nowhere else to go. That's not my problem. He stepped closer, desperation in his eyes. Everything's gone. The company, the money, she ruined it all. She. I repeated. You mean Sabrina? He nodded miserably. She forged contracts. Moved money without telling me. When it came out, everyone turned on us. She's hiding now. I can't even reach her. I folded my arms. So the empire built on lies finally crumbled. Elena, please, he said. You don't understand. They froze my accounts. I can't even pay rent. I almost laughed. You froze mine once too, remember? His shoulders sagged. I was stupid. Arrogant. I thought I was untouchable. You were cruel, I said flatly. That's worse. He swallowed hard. You have every right to hate me, but please, I just need help. Alone, a place to stay, something. I stepped back, the old anger rising like smoke. You think I'd save you after what you did? I know I don't deserve it, he said, voice breaking. But I had no one else to turn to. Everyone's gone. I thought maybe, he looked at me with wet, pleading eyes. Maybe you still cared. I shook my head slowly. I stopped caring the night you told me I wasn't enough. His face crumpled. I didn't mean it. Yes, you did, I said quietly. And that's what makes it real. The rain poured harder, soaking him as he stood there. He looked smaller now, not the man who once walked through boardrooms with confidence, but a hollow reflection of him. Ethan helped you, didn't he? He asked suddenly, his tone bitter. He believed in me, I replied. Something you never did. I was wrong, he said quickly. You're incredible, Elena. I see that now. It's too late for that. He took another step forward. Please, just give me one chance. I can start over. We can. I cut him off. Don't you dare say we. There's no we anymore. He flinched. I lost everything. I stared at him. No, Aiden. You threw it away. There's a difference. He clenched his fists, his voice rising. You think this makes you better than me? No, I said calmly. It makes me free. His expression broke. I loved you once. I laughed bitterly. No, you loved control. And when I stopped being something you could own, you replaced me. He pressed his hand to his face. I hate what I've become. Then change, I said. But don't ask me to fix you. That's not my job anymore. His voice cracked. Please, Elena, help me. I looked at him, the man who once made me beg, now begging himself. The irony was perfect. Do you remember, I asked softly, the night you left me with nothing? How you walked away without looking back? He nodded miserably. That's exactly what I'm doing now, I said. I stepped inside and began closing the door. His voice called after me, raw and desperate. Elena, wait. I paused just for a second. You made your choice, I said. Now live with it. The door clicked shut between us. Through the glass, I saw him collapse to his knees, the rain streaming down his face. His sobs were muffled by the storm, but I could still hear them, low, broken, pitiful. I stood there for a long moment, my hand against the door, my heart strangely calm. Once, his tears would have shattered me. Now they healed something I didn't know was still bleeding. Ethan's voice came from behind me. Was that him? I turned. Yes. He nodded, eyes searching mine. And you're okay? I took a deep breath. More than okay. He walked closer. Do you want me to? No, I said. Let him cry. He needs to feel it. Ethan looked at me with quiet pride. You've come a long way. I smiled faintly. I had to. He glanced toward the window. You think he'll ever change? I shook my head. Maybe. But it doesn't matter anymore. We stood there in silence, the sound of rain softening. Ethan finally said, So, what now? I looked around at my gallery, my art, my children's laughter faintly echoing upstairs, my peace. Now, I said softly, I start living instead of surviving. Outside, the storm began to fade, but the image of Aiden kneeling in the rain stayed burned in my mind, not as a wound but as closure. For years I'd begged for justice. Tonight, justice begged at my door. And I closed it. I sat cross-legged on my bedroom floor, surrounded by boxes I hadn't touched in months. The twins slept quietly in their cribs, soft breaths filling the room like a lullaby. I wasn't supposed to go through old things, but something told me tonight was different. My hands grazed the edge of a small, worn envelope. Curiosity won. I opened it. Elena, I whispered, recognizing my own handwriting. Letter after letter tumbled out, each folded with care, each one addressed to him, Aiden. Letters I had written in the quietest, loneliest moments of heartbreak, letters I'd never sent. I picked up the first one. I can't believe you left me like this. You promised forever and forever ended in lies. I hate you but I still love you. I hope you realize what you've done. I read it aloud softly, the words tasting like bitterness. My throat tightened, memories of late-night cries, empty apartment walls, and stolen dreams rising up. Then I smiled faintly. That was me. I whispered. Angry, broken, but alive. The second letter said, I wonder if you think about me. I wonder if you regret it. I wonder if you even remember my face when you left. I miss us, the idea of us. But I can't go back. I paused, letting the silence settle. I remembered that night in the rain, Ethan beside me, my children warm and safe. The ache of longing wasn't gone entirely, but it felt distant, like a shadow behind a sunlit door. I took a deep breath. I'm not her anymore, I murmured. I'm not that scared, desperate girl. The last letter was different. I forgive you not because you deserve it but because I need to. I need to breathe. I need to live. And someday I hope I'll be happy again. I closed my eyes, feeling the words wash over me. Forgiveness. I realized I wasn't angry anymore. I didn't need him to apologize, didn't need him to come crawling back. I was free. I gathered the letters into a neat pile, staring at them one last time. Thank you, I whispered to myself, for teaching me to let go. I grabbed a matchbox from the bedside table. My hands shook slightly, old fear mixing with new resolve. I struck a match and touched the flame to the corner of the top letter. It curled immediately, black smoke curling toward the ceiling. Goodbye, I whispered. The letters burned slowly, each one folding into ash, the smell sharp but cleansing. I watched until there was nothing left but gray dust in my hands. I let it fall to the floor, scattering in the warm light of the room. Ethan's voice called softly from the hall. Elena? Everything okay? I smiled faintly, feeling lighter than I had in years. I'm better than okay, I said. I'm free. He appeared in the doorway, concern etched on his face. You burned them? Yes, I said. All of them. The past no longer owns me. He walked closer, crouching beside me. That's powerful. I nodded, running a hand through my hair. I needed this. Needed to see the last of my anger go up in flames. To stop carrying it like a weight. He smiled softly. And you feel it leaving? I do, I said. Every letter, every word, gone. I'm lighter. Happier. Ready. Luna stirred in her sleep, tiny hands stretching. Liam mumbled something and rolled over. I leaned back, eyes closing for a moment, listening to their steady breathing. For the first time in years the house felt calm. Not empty, not lonely, just ours. Safe. Warm. Home. Ethan stayed by my side, quiet, letting me sit in my new peace. You've come a long way, he murmured. I looked at him, smiling gently. I have. And it feels good to stop fighting ghosts. He nodded. You deserve this. I know, I said softly. And I won't forget it. The ash from the letters rested on the floor, silent witnesses to a past that no longer had power over me. I watched it drift as I inhaled deeply, the scent of smoke fading into the night. Mommy? Luna whispered, half asleep. Yes, my love? I asked. Are you happy? I laughed quietly, the sound soft and unguarded. Yes, baby. Happier than I've ever been. I looked around the room at the twins, at Ethan, at the quiet warmth of home. For the first time, I realized I had truly survived. Not just survived, I had thrived. The past was gone, but I was still here. Stronger, braver, ready for whatever came next. I blew out the last faint wisp of smoke and whispered to myself, this is mine now. All of it. And for the first time in a long time, I slept without fear, without anger, without regret. Just peace. That it was a cold, gray afternoon when I first saw him again. The city streets buzzed with life, but all I noticed was the figure slumped against a wall, hands extended, a cardboard sign at his feet. I froze. It was Aiden. Not the polished, arrogant man I remembered. Not the man who kissed me goodbye and shattered my life. This Aiden was small, thin, his hair matted, clothes torn. He held something in his hand, a crumpled photograph of me and the twins. Liam tugged my sleeve. Mommy, why is that man holding a picture of us? I swallowed hard. I don't know, sweetie. Ethan stepped beside me silently, his eyes narrowing as he took in the scene. I walked closer, my heart hammering. He looked up as I neared, and for the first time I saw fear in his eyes. Recognition. Guilt. Elena, he croaked, voice hoarse from the cold or perhaps from crying. I looked away, unable to meet his eyes. Aiden, go. He shook his head, tears streaking down his dirted face. Please? I need. I clenched my jaw, memories of every night I cried alone, every dollar he took, every lie he whispered echoing through my mind. I can't help you, I said quietly. He fell to his knees, holding the photograph to his chest. I didn't know. I turned to Ethan, my chest tight. His gaze met mine, understanding without words. Do you want me to? He started. I shook my head. No, not from me. This isn't for me. Ethan nodded. Without another word, he reached into his wallet and pulled out a check. His fingers trembled slightly as he handed it to Aiden. The man looked down at it, confusion and disbelief flashing across his face. What is this? He whispered. Ethan's voice was calm, sharp. That's from her. Aiden's hands shook violently as he stared at the check. The amount was the same fortune he had stolen from me years ago. His knees hit the cold pavement, his shoulders shaking with sobs. I turned away, holding Liam and Luna close. Their small hands wrapped around mine, grounding me in the moment. Mommy? Luna said softly. Yes, baby? I whispered. Is he sorry? I paused. Could I tell them everything? Could I explain the cruelty, the pain, the years of struggle? I shook my head. Some people learn too late, sweethearts. But what matters is that we're safe and we're together. Aiden's cries echoed faintly as I walked down the street with Ethan, holding my children. I felt a weight lift off my shoulders I didn't know I'd been carrying. Ethan glanced at me. You okay? I smiled faintly, a mixture of exhaustion and release. More than okay. I feel complete. Complete? He asked softly. Yes, I said. For years I thought revenge meant hurting him back. But that's not how it works. Letting him feel the consequences without touching him? That's the final revenge. Ethan nodded, impressed and quiet. That's powerful. I looked back over my shoulder at Aiden, still kneeling in the rain, check in hand, crying like a man who finally understood the weight of his actions. I almost feel sorry for him, I admitted. Ethan smiled, a little wryly. Almost, I said firmly. But not enough to forget. Not enough to let him touch my life again. Liam tugged on my coat. Mommy, can we get ice cream? I laughed softly, the sound lighter than it had been in years. Yes, let's go. We've earned it, haven't we? Yeah. Liam and Luna cheered, holding my hands tight, dragging me down the street toward warmth, light, and normalcy. Ethan fell into step beside us. You know, he said quietly, you're incredible. Not just for surviving but for forgiving without losing yourself. I looked at him, my heart swelling. I had to. Forgiveness isn't for him. It's for me. And that's worth more than anything he's ever had. We walked together, my children laughing between us, the city alive around us. Behind, Aiden's sobs faded into the distance, swallowed by the noise of life, a life I had reclaimed. I squeezed Ethan's hand gently. You see that? That's my final act. And I'm free. He smiled, eyes warm. Free is a good place to be. I nodded, feeling the rain wash over my face, not cold but cleansing. Every step away from him was a step toward everything I had fought for. My children, my art, my peace. Finally, I whispered to myself, almost a prayer, almost a promise. I survived. I thrived. And no one can take this away from me ever again. The streetlights shimmered on the wet pavement, casting reflections of our small family, a family unbroken, unbought, and unstoppable. Aiden would remember me forever. Not as a victim. Not as someone he could control. But as the woman who walked away, strong, forgiving, and unshakable. And that was all the revenge I needed. The park was quiet that morning, sunlight spilling across the wet grass from last night's rain. Liam and Luna ran ahead, laughing, their small feet splashing in puddles. I watched them, heart full, and for the first time in years I felt like life wasn't a battle. It was a gift. Ethan walked beside me, his hand brushing mine occasionally, careful, respectful, always present. Do you ever think about that day? I asked softly, eyes on the twins. When you found us in the rain? He smiled faintly. How could I forget? You were shivering, holding two tiny humans like a superhero in disguise. I laughed, remembering it vividly. I didn't feel like a superhero. I felt like I'd failed at everything. You didn't fail, he said gently. You survived. You thrived. And you did it all with them. I shook my head, smiling through the emotion. I couldn't have done it without you. You believed in me when no one else did. His eyes softened. I never believed you needed saving. You already had everything inside you. I glanced up at him, seeing the warmth in his gaze, the way he always seemed to understand without words. And yet you saved me anyway. Because I wanted to, he said simply. Because you deserved it. Because I care. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the past and the lightness of the present colliding. I care too, Ethan. More than I ever thought I could again. He stopped walking, taking both my hands in his. Elena. I know life hasn't been fair. I know you've carried pain no one should ever carry. But I want to be part of your future. I want to build something together, something safe, something beautiful. I felt my chest tighten, tears pricking my eyes. Ethan, I whispered. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box. My fingers froze before he opened it to reveal a simple, elegant ring. Elena Gray, he said, voice steady but full of emotion. Will you marry me? I blinked, overwhelmed, and for a moment couldn't speak. All the years of fear, heartbreak, and struggle swirled inside me, but none of it mattered now. What mattered was here, in this man, in these children, in this moment. I can't believe this, I said, voice trembling. Oh, I'm not broken anymore. You never were, he replied softly, lifting my hand to place the ring on my finger. You were always whole. You just needed someone to see it. I laughed through tears, shaking my head. I don't even know what to say. Say yes, he whispered. Yes, I breathed. Yes, Ethan. 1,000 times yes. He pulled me into a hug, careful not to crush me but strong enough to make me feel safe. I rested my head on his shoulder, closing my eyes, letting the moment soak into my soul. Liam and Luna ran up, splashing in a puddle near us. Liam tugged on Ethan's coat. Daddy. And Mommy. Luna added, twirling happily. I looked at Ethan, a full smile spreading across my face. Looks like they approve. He laughed, lifting the twins into his arms, spinning them gently. I think they already have, actually. I watched him, my heart swelling, and whispered, I never thought I'd get here again. You did, he said. Because you fought. Because you never gave up. And because you let yourself be loved again. I nodded, blinking back tears. I think I'm ready to stop looking over my shoulder. Ready to stop surviving and start living. Then live, he said, eyes soft but intense. Live with me. With them. With me. I looked down at my hands, still holding his, the ring gleaming in the morning sun. I could feel the weight of the past, every betrayal, every loss, lift just slightly. Replaced with hope, trust, and a love I never expected to find again. Ethan, I said softly, I promise I'll try every day to make this work. To be happy. To love fully. You don't have to try, he said, voice breaking slightly. You just have to be yourself. That's all I ever wanted. I smiled, leaning into him, feeling his warmth seep into my bones. I'm ready, I whispered. You are. Yes, I said, looking up at him. Ready for a life without fear. Without regret. With you and them. He kissed my forehead gently, and I felt a peace I hadn't known in years. Say, oh. I turned to watch the twins, laughing in the puddles, and whispered to myself, this is what happiness feels like. Ethan's hand found mine again, fingers intertwining. And it's only just beginning, he said. I nodded, taking a deep breath of the fresh, rain-scented air. Yes, only just beginning. We stood there on the park bench where our journey had truly started, hearts full, children laughing, and the world stretching wide with possibility. I was no longer broken. I was healed, loved, and free. And for the first time in my life I could truly believe in forever. The gallery was alive with people that evening, the walls covered with my paintings, each one a fragment of my journey. Faces passed by, admiring the colors, the emotion, the story behind each brushstroke. Some whispered about the struggles I'd endured, the heartbreak I'd survived. But only I knew the full truth, the blood, tears, and sleepless nights that gave birth to this life. Liam tugged on my hand. Mommy, look. Everyone loves your paintings. I smiled, kneeling to their height. Yes, baby. And it's because we never gave up, right? Yes, they chorused together, grinning. Ethan stood beside me, quiet and steady, watching the scene with pride. You've come a long way, Elena, he murmured. I have, I whispered, feeling the weight of every year, the betrayal, the struggle, the tiny victories, all leading to this moment. And I'm grateful for every piece of it. I stepped outside for a breath of air, the cool evening brushing against my skin. That's when I saw him. Aiden. Not the man I once knew. Not the man who stole, lied, and broke my heart. He was older, frail, clothes worn thin, hands trembling as he clutched a tin cup, begging. And yet his eyes, Those same eyes that once held charm and arrogance now brimmed with regret. I froze, feeling a strange tug inside me. Not anger. Not fear. Just clarity. Ethan's hand found mine, squeezing gently. Do you want me to? No, I said softly. This is mine. I walked toward him slowly, Liam and Luna skipping beside me, their laughter a shield and a reminder of what I had built. He looked up at me, eyes wide, searching. Recognition flickered, and with it, a shame that made him shrink. Elena, his voice cracked, weak and unsure. I stopped a few feet away, kneeling slightly to meet his gaze. Aiden, I said gently. He bowed his head, unable to speak. His lips quivered. I'm sorry, he whispered finally. I studied him, the man he had become, the reflection of the choices he made. I felt no hate, only the quiet strength of someone who had endured and survived. You made me who I am, I said softly, voice steady. You took everything and I rebuilt. You broke me and I healed. You left me with nothing and I learned how to hold everything that truly matters. Tears pooled in his eyes, and for a moment, I thought he might speak again, might beg. But I didn't wait for it. There was nothing left to demand, nothing left to give. I smiled, small, calm but full of peace. Thank you, I said. He blinked, confusion mixing with sorrow. Thank you, he echoed. Yes, I replied. For showing me the strength I didn't know I had. For teaching me that pain, when faced with courage, becomes power. For letting me become everything I was meant to be. He lowered his eyes, silent. I felt no triumph in his silence, only the natural justice of life. His regrets were his own, and they would accompany him until he understood fully what he had lost. I turned toward the street, Liam and Luna running ahead, Ethan following with a gentle smile. The night lights shimmered on wet pavement, reflecting the beginning of something new. As we walked, the wind carried the scent of rain and possibility. I didn't glance back, but I felt a soft energy behind me, a memory of the past dissolving into something lighter, freer. Mommy, Luna said, grabbing my hand. Do you think he's okay? I chuckled softly, squeezing her hand. He'll be fine. We don't need to carry his mistakes anymore. Liam hopped ahead, voice full of excitement. Can we get ice cream now? Yes, I laughed, feeling my heart lift. We've earned it. Ethan reached for my hand, his eyes warm. And this, he said quietly, is just the beginning. I nodded, looking at the horizon as the city stretched before us, endless possibilities painted in the glow of streetlights. Yes, the beginning. For the first time, I realized that closure didn't come from vengeance or regret. It came from walking forward, holding those you love close and knowing that you had survived, healed, and thrived. Aiden's figure faded into the distance behind us, a ghost of the past that no longer held power. My children's laughter led the way, light and free, a sound I would carry with me forever. I took a deep breath, feeling life fully for the first time in years. The pain, the struggle, the heartbreak, all of it had forged me into someone unshakable, unbroken, and strong. I smiled again, softly, fully, and whispered to myself, this is who I am now. And I am free. The three of us walked on, the city alive around us, hearts light, spirits full, stepping into the future with courage and love. The past had shaped me, but it did not define me. And that was enough.